Hey, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am Nate. I'm here with my co-host Doug, the comic collector coach. This is Holly Comics, and this is our sometimes semi-regular mental health and collecting show. We are joined tonight by a titan of our community, Brian LCS. Brian loves collecting Spidey, also known as the local comic stud. Brian, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Linked below, I have both your channels. People should subscribe to you, but also the video that Brian put out kind of recently about just kind of fatigue and gratitude within like comic book YouTube that just Doug and I started texting back and forth. I was just like, have you seen Brian's new video? Like, I really want to talk about this. And so it was a topic that just kind of made sense for us to talk about because all collectors feel burnout at some level. And we're gonna start there in just a second, but there are quite a few people in the chat, and we want to hear from you guys too about how you feel about your collecting and burnout. And first up is Lewis. I find myself in need of FOMO help. Well, we're here to FOMO some help for you, buddy. There's my buddy Alex. Thanks for being here. Rich, Big Nasty, my fellow No Dig April buddy. We made it. Today's the last day, so tomorrow right. we can dig again. That's exciting. Michael, just Michael. And then we've got Core all the way from Denmark, and this guy knows neurobiology and cognitive science and all of the terms. He actually is a mental health expert. We should say right out of the gate, none of us are.
Not even close.
We are just nerds who are reflecting on our own state of being right now.
We might be mental, but that's
yes. There is the great Robbie Josephs. Robbie, thanks for being here. Going to do a stream with him next week.
Nice.
Let's see. Coach, there you are. If I miss somebody, I am sorry. I'm scrolling kind of fast. Please just let me know that I missed you. There's Michael again. Oh, there's Mark's issue with Archie's. Hey, watching on the TV tonight, so. There's Derek from Canada collecting, having a YouTube channel of mental health. Yeah, we're gonna have to get you involved in one of these. Derek. You have very good insight. Yeah, we got room for you, Matt. Always got room. There's Matt from Impressed. Rob Saint. Scrolling. Don't want to miss anyone. We never thought a show about burnout would start on time. There's Jeff Jack. Hey,
that was definitely by design.
Good joke. I think I've got everybody. I think that's it. All right. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Please just say I missed you in the chat. But here's where I want to start. As a collector, like, and it doesn't have to necessarily just be comic books, but what is a point that you felt like burnout or fatigue with just the process of collecting or the thing you were collecting? Or have you felt that? Like, as you know, Brian, I feel like you've done sports cards and stuff. Is there a point where you were like, okay, enough is enough. I don't want to get any more of these?
Well, I mean, I took a 30-year break from comics, right? So, I mean, I collected originally in the 80s and then kind of ended in early 90s and then didn't come back to 2020. So, no, I haven't. Since I've been back, I haven't really felt the burnout from collecting. You know, I still look forward to Wednesday, going to the shop, picking up new books. So, yeah, that from the just picking up new books, that's been pretty consistent.
Okay, good. Yeah. What about you, Doug?
You know, I collected a bunch as a kid. You know, I started also in the 80s when I was, I don't know, maybe 5, and collected through the 90s. Yeah, right. I collected through the 90s a little bit, but as much as I liked foil covers, you know, as a kid, it just a lot of it really, the stories I wasn't really into. So kind of through high school here and there, and then, you know, got back into it after high school, and then my big hiatus from it was really my military service.
Okay.
I just wasn't able to, with the schedule that I had, really get into it. Here and there I did. So I've never really had burnout about collecting, but other things associated with collecting, absolutely.
Okay. And chat, please chime in if there's something you wanna throw out there that you felt like you were getting fatigued, or I guess maybe it's like it's more about, I guess my story will be in the most recent run of the Flash. I'm a huge Flash collector. Barry Allen, Wally West, both runs. I try to put as much of them together as I can. And like you guys, I dropped off in the 90s because I felt like the stories weren't quite as good. But I got to a point with the newest run where, I mean, I was 3 months behind in reading it because I didn't even really like it that much. And at that point, like, I just decided, but because I'm a collector, right? Like, I want to have them all.
Right.
And it was really hard for me to drop that off my pull list, but I wasn't enjoying the book. I was feeling burnt out by that book. It just wasn't delivering for me. And when I did finally say, okay, I'm going to let this go, and I don't need to have this sequential run from 1 to 25 or whatever it was at, it felt pretty good. Like, it felt pretty good to be able to, and it made me feel like maybe I could let some other things go. Or another example would be like, action figures. My wife came in here and looked up here and she's like, well, that's really busy. And I was like, I know. But I mean, I've got action figures in boxes still because I don't have anywhere to display them anymore. And so room, like actual physical space can become a problem for me to keep even though I like action figures. It's like you can only give them so much space. Right. And so again, like, not picking up new figures when new lines come out, that feels a little liberating at times. Derek feels it with current collecting, weekly pickups at the LCS, and FOMO. I guess that's when there's like the book that everybody's talking about. And Brian, you talked about this in your video. So like Dork, right? Dork number 1 was the one. And I happened to grab it just because, not because everybody was FOMOing it, but it's just the biggest current example I can think of where there's a book everybody's talking about and you think, oh, well, I should pick that up. And how many times when everybody says that they want this book and I pick it up, does it really grab me? And not often, right? Like, it's just hot for the moment for whatever reason, but it's not actually something I'm interested in. And that can get a little exhausting too.
Yeah, that happened to me when I first got back in because I was, now all the variant covers and, look at this cover. And I was picking up things that I probably wouldn't normally pick up, but the art looked great or somebody talked about it. And so it took me a little while to navigate through that and then be okay. Like you said, with letting things go, dropping a title or not having, now I basically collect A covers. And, once in a while I'll pick up a variant. I was picking up the 1 in 25 every week or every month for Ultimate Spider-Man. But I didn't think that, I knew that kind of wasn't going to last forever. And so I knew that was kind of like that would be a small, a sample of books. So,
yeah.
I feel like I've got a good handle on the FOMO aspect, but there was a while there where, so much comes out so close together. It's like, I want one of those and I want one of that and I want one of these. And like Nate said, how much of it was I really enjoying? So I immediately stopped doing that and refocused. I think what helped ground me was filling runs, like completing runs. And so, when you're doing that, Brian, for sure, and Nate too, but with ASM, there's always a book that you don't have because there's so many. And so when you're trying to complete a run, all that other stuff just becomes noise. And so you kind of get, tunnel vision for the run. Like right now, I'm still trying to finish Daredevil Volume 1. It's 380 books, but it spans like 30 something years.
Right.
So, it's that helps me rein in the FOMO a little bit. And when a book like Absolute Batman, I'm interested in the story, haven't read a single issue, not a single one. I'm just going to pick up the trade when, and read it
and
for the story.
Brian and I will both tell you that you should.
Yes.
That's what I keep hearing, but it's just like, I'm not gonna fight, whether it's in the LCS or online or, you know, wherever. I'm not gonna fight to get a copy of a book that right now, honestly, I really don't have time to read.
Yeah. And I think all three of us are in, and Brian, I know you said in your video and just in life, you don't consider yourself as much a collector as a reader. You enjoy the characters that you read about. And I'm the same way. Even though I have 10,000 books, whatever it is, I do have the goal to read them all. Like, I get them because they interest me to read for the most part. There are a few here and there that I grabbed because it was a cover buy or something interesting. And then, JC here. Yeah. And I think this is a solution. I am not and maybe it's my age, but I struggle to read digitally, even with a tablet that I have. I just prefer to have a book. I want to be able to sit in bed or sit on the porch or sit on my couch with something that I can turn the pages. But I mean, if you're just a reader, there's so many ways to do that. You don't have to actually possess the thing. And that is something else that recently has really helped me is I collected a mini series or whatever it was, and I enjoyed it and I read it. And then I just kind of asked myself, especially the newer stuff, am I going to go back and read this again? Because if I'm not, I either want to pass it to somebody or sell it or trade it or whatever, because I really only want to keep the things that either have nostalgia for me or it's the runs, because I am a run collector and I don't want to get rid of those. But if it's not something that I feel like I need to keep, I am feeling a lot better about letting some of those things go and just reading them as I can. So I don't read digitally, but I get a ton of books from my library. They get a lot of trades, and I can request them and it's great. And so that's how I've been. There's been a lot of things that I haven't picked up, like you said, Doug, Absolute Batman. Things people are like, oh, I love this. And I'm like, well, I'll wait for the trade. And when the trade comes out, hopefully I can get it and I can read it, but I don't have to have the thing in the collection necessarily. Right. I definitely have to have things to collect though.
Yeah.
Matt says, I negotiated with myself that if I'm not into a series that I've been collecting for a long time, I can get the books in the dollar bin later in life, and that doesn't hurt so bad. I did that with Star Trek. A lot of the more recent Star Trek books, not that they weren't good, it's just that $5 a book is, you got your opportunity cost. You're trying to decide where to put that $5. And my thing was, man, you always see Star Trek in the dollar bin. Like, yeah, I'm not going to get it right now, but I know I'll find it at a convention because that's something that people just always have to get rid of. Robbie, I used to feel the heat a bit, but only make a handful of buys now, so it keeps it fresh and exciting. And he does have a very healthy way of, he picks some books and hunts and keeps that going. Oh, John.
Well, John, when you buy everything, there's no FOMO.
Right. John doesn't have FOMO because he just gets, and he gets good stuff.
But there's been a lot of people in the community too that have given up new comic books, not buying any new books, weekly, and just really focused on, older books, working on runs or picking up, older stories. So that's another way that some people approach it too.
You geek responsibly, and you should. We've talked about that, but I think that's why Doug and I like to have these little conversations, is because it's real easy to let that FOMO or that impulsivity get away from you. And you do have to reflect, and you do have to kind of look at things that you're doing and reevaluate. It's okay to make changes, and that's kind of the whole impetus for why we're here. And to each their own, Core. There is a lot of quality in modern comics. I honest to God, I think comics might be the best they've ever been in terms of.
I was just going to say that. Story. I think they're better now on a consistent basis across a broader range than they've ever been, at least in my 30 whatever years of collecting. So I mean, I can't think of a time where I was more excited than the present for newer books.
Yeah, I would agree, but I also understand people who are like, $5 a book, not going to do it. I'm more interested in the stuff that I read as a kid, the things that I had nostalgia for. I get trying to put together a Bronze Age or a Copper Age or a Silver Age run in lieu of these newer books.
Sure.
And I think to each their own. It really, I mean, I'm trying to do it all. That's probably not always the smartest thing.
Yeah, but then the independent, you have so many different independent stories that a lot of them are, mini series.
Yes.
Kind of unique story, non-superhero stories. So there's definitely a lot of options out there today for sure.
I'm digging a lot of the indie stuff right now. And that's where I think we're in a golden age of independent sequential storytelling. The superhero stuff can be more hit or miss, but the ones that I like. I like this. Michael says, can burnout be healthy like new growth after a forest fire? Yeah, I really do.
I think so.
That if you're fed up with something and you're, or you're just kind of worn out by doing the same thing over and over, by letting it go and finding a different thing to focus on, it can definitely be the new growth, right? Like reinvigorate what you're doing. And why? So Brian, you Marvel team up, you put that run together. Do you have your Star Wars run together? Or are you still missing a few? So, and I've got Firestorm, I've got my Flash runs, I've got, Silver Age, Superman, Lois, the runs that I'm trying to put together. And it's just like you said, Doug, it's just fun, like Daredevil.
Yeah.
I go to a show and I know I've got some holes to fill. So finding any of those feels pretty good. It gives me that dopamine rush, Core.
And it makes you feel like you accomplished something. Whereas, buying the book to avoid the FOMO, did you really feel better about doing that? Or do you just now not have the FOMO?
I mean, I'm going to be honest, like a couple of these, and I have got over the last couple of months where this book's going to be really hot. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll look at it on the shelf. And then I see it and everyone says, oh, it's really hot. And I hear that in my head and I'm like, but I don't know if I really want it, but I grab it. And then I read it and I don't really care for it. And about 3 times that I've done that this year, I've sold it. I've just turned around and sold it. And I don't want to be like the dirty comic flipper guy or whatever. And that's not why I did it. But it's like, it didn't stay in the collection for even a month, right? Like I sold it when it was at its peak. And that has just had me rethinking grabbing those kind of books. Like instead of grabbing the book everybody's talking about, I'd rather grab one with a cover or art that I'm like, man, that's weird. That's interesting. I want to check that out. I would rather have a personal drive towards it than because the outside FOMO told me I should get it. The hive mind, the hive mind of collecting.
Right. I think a good litmus for that too is, if a book has got a lot of hype around it and then it dies off, it likely might not get a trade, or it's going to be a long time before it gets put in a trade. Something like Absolute Batman, coming back to my point earlier, it's had issue 1's had how many printings now? 11 plus?
Isn't it at 13?
I don't know. I've lost track. But when books are going back for second and third, nth level, whatever printing, it's going to have a trade at some point. They're not just not going to put it in a trade because there's, if there's that much demand, it's going to be in one binding at some point, and there's your opportunity. I can wait long enough to pick up the trade.
Even another enticement for me to trade weight on certain things is, like Brian, you said, the variant covers. Sometimes, I really like some of those variants, but I'm an A cover guy too. Well, if I just forego it and wait for the trade, they almost always put those variants in the back, right?
Covers, sure.
And so you get if you buy the trade, you especially hardcovers, they do that. You get a cover gallery, you get some background information or character sketches and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I pick I pick the ones I want to get. I don't feel like I've let me ask this. I don't feel like I've had much regret when it comes to things I haven't picked up and I've waited or read later. Do you guys feel like Doug, do you feel like you missed the boat on Absolute Batman, or are you
No.
comfortable with where you are?
No, not at all. Yeah, I'm super comfortable with it. I mean, there's don't get me wrong. There's a few times where I'm like, man, I wish I'd got that when it was new, because I knew I wanted to read it and I waited too long, wasn't available. Maybe it didn't get a second printing for several months. And so now if I want it, the price is $20, $30 plus dollars. And there's been those, one or two, situations where it's like, I should have just grabbed it.
Yeah.
But I don't let it haunt me. I'm not
Good.
stewing about it this many years later,
And Brian, how about you? You feel like?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's really been anything that haven't picked up or thought about picking up and then didn't that I regret now. I mean, it's because I think long term, I'm not sure if I would want that in the PC anyway.
Yeah.
Any of the books that I think I want long term are on a pull list, so I don't have to worry about missing them.
Sure.
Some of these fringe books that I don't put on could be, if my shop has it when I get there, maybe I'll pick it up, maybe I won't. If it's sold out, well, then it made the decision for me, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, I want to shift into the second part of Brian's video that really I felt seen, Brian, when you started talking about being a collector, being somebody who makes YouTube videos, and just there is a lot of obligation, like self-imposed or otherwise, on that, and that leads to like kind of burnout and fatigue of yourself as you're trying to continue to be a part of the comic book YouTube community. So first, Brian's had 5 years on YouTube, which is, I just hit year 2, and I can't believe it actually went by pretty quickly, but I think 5 years is a hell of an accomplishment, man. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Because
it's
I don't
gone
think
quick though too. The 5 years has gone quick.
What do you want to, I don't want you to have to rehash your whole video, but like, is there anything you want to get this conversation rolling about, like where that came from, how you felt about feeling a little burnout with YouTube?
Yeah, and it's kind of you typically are like on my anniversary. So every year I've kind of done a video similar to that, like just what's the state of the state for me in the community and collecting. And so this year it was really, I'm really feeling the fatigue, the obligation from watching content, others' content.
Okay.
It's not so much making my own, because we were talking backstage. When I first started, I was making like 3 videos a week. I was doing 3 videos and a live stream. And then at some point I scaled that back to 2 pre-recorded videos and a live stream. And now I'm down to 1 video a week and a live stream when I'm available. So that's been, kind of a ebbs and flows of making content. But the obligation or the fatigue that I'm feeling is more on the watching of other people's content. And I think for me, being, the creator of the Comic Book Community Awards adds to that my own pressure, because I feel like I need to know what's going on in the community, know what, know new channels coming in, or, if channels, when we're nominating and voting, that I'm aware of who these channels are. And that's just, I think that's my own, mind and my own, what I'm feeling and my, my own obligation. But a lot of the comments on my video were talking about similar things, feeling, overwhelmed by having to, trying to support as many people. And, some people even mentioned, which I was surprised, that they had run-ins with people within the community and have now kind of stepped away because they had a bad experience with a person or a channel or an incident or whatever the case may be. So they've actually even just stepped away because of that. And so that was a little surprising. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised because I've had it with the awards, more on the award side, less on the personal of my channel
Sure.
side. But yeah, that's really where I'm feeling it. Like I just, and work for me this year has really gotten busy. And so a lot of times, like I work, at a computer pretty much all day. I'm in meetings, and so
Yeah.
I can have stuff in the background just playing, secondary listening, and because I've even gotten busier at work this year, I haven't even been able to do that, and so I really felt the crunch of, I'm not watching people's content, I'm not commenting, and that's really, I think, one of the bad sides of YouTube is the only way somebody can tell that I've watched their video is by a comment, right? You can't see if you like a video, like on Instagram or, Facebook, you can see who's liked your video. So I think that's, the only way you can get recognized for watching somebody's content is you have to drop a comment. And I'm not the type of person that's just going to, say hello and say, hey, great video, if I haven't really watched the video. And so I don't feel, I don't like to do that personally. So
I have a big, sorry, this is one of my classroom things when we agree. So I agree. And what I have struggled with is I set my room up in the morning and I have a playlist, and it is ever growing to the point that it's impossible for me to ever catch up to, of all the videos of the people that I know and that I'm subscribed to and that I'm behind on. And it's the same thing. Like if I have it in the background, I might forget to like it, and it's already passed and the next video has auto played and I didn't leave a comment, and it wouldn't matter anyway because I'm signed in on my school account and they wouldn't know who that is. So it's like I keep, I try to keep up and I can't, and I feel bad. But at the same time, in your video you talked about, and Doug, we talked backstage, like we have families, we have lives, we have things we want to do that's not YouTube. And so I think it's okay not to watch everything, even of like your best friends in the community. Like you can't, especially when, some of your friends put out 4 videos a damn week. It's impossible.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, but the obligation still is there. And with you doing the awards, you touched on this a little, and I was going to come to this. Do you feel like some of the pushback you've got, and I got a little bit of that last year myself, from the awards, does that sour you on continuing to do it? Are you at a point where you're feeling like, maybe it's time for me to stop doing this because it's too much? I know when you started, it was probably a whole lot smaller.
Yes. Yeah. A lot smaller. It's grown obviously over the years. And yeah, I always had that. It's kind of, there's certain times, like maybe in between the awards when it's not active. Usually during the awards or after the show, when we announce the winners, you're feeling pretty good. People are excited. People are happy, in most cases. And so usually at that point, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely in for next year. And then, come check with me 2 or 3 months later. And I'm like, do I really want to do this again?
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to get ready for training camp all over again. And like, do I want to go run laps and do the, do all this stuff again? And so, there's definitely those moments. But then, as I start to plan it again, and I get excited about it. And then, once we get into the nominations and voting, then there's usually the chatter, and then that makes me feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this again. So, I mean, ultimately, I think the goal for me would be to get it to a point where it pretty much is run, where somebody else could just take it over, right?
Yeah.
That I could turn the reins over to somebody else and let them run with it.
Sure.
Because I do like it. There are times where I really love it and I really enjoy it, and there's times where I'm like, yeah, I'm done. But I'd like to get it to the point where maybe I could turn it over to somebody else, else who, wants to run it, and then maybe we'll bring, some new ideas, some fresh ideas to it. So,
well, it's what you have done, I think, has been really impactful. it has been personally, it was an avenue for me to meet a lot of cool people, yourself included, that like I don't know that I would have crossed paths with it had the awards not existed. So
Sure.
I mean, I appreciate that, but I totally also appreciate the work that goes into it. And then when you put all that work into it and you get like the awards are over and now there's 4 videos of dudes like talking about how
Right.
you did it wrong, it's
Yeah.
but you can't please everybody too.
Right.
And I know you and I have talked before about that, and I know that like you deal with it very healthily, but it still has to like hit you at some level, as far as like you said, like do I even want to go through this anymore?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not just people with channels like Robbie Joseph saying that he gets all these notifications and it's becoming impossible for him to watch all of the people that he's become friends with and whose videos that he watches. And that's another, it's not just people who make videos. There's a ton of people in this community who I see everywhere. Like everywhere I go that's a live stream, there are people I see. One of them is right there. His name is Doug, and he's in the live chat of almost everything.
Yeah.
But it's hard to like keep up with that kind of, it's hard to be in. And sometimes I think you said this too, Brian, like I'll pop in because I'll see someone streaming and I just want to say, hey, give them a thumb up and say, hey, but then I'm like, oh man, should I hang out for a little bit, to help their watch hours, or should I go back to this movie I'm watching with the wife?
Yeah. I mean, I think the live stream is easy, right? You can pop in, say hello to the others in the chat, hit the thumbs up, and you can, and maybe you watch for a couple minutes and then you don't have to, I mean, I don't stay, a lot of times I don't stay, or I'm doing multiple things. I'm doing other things, on the computer or my phone. But the pre-recorded video to me just seems like a different animal because I just don't want to leave a comment where I really haven't, I don't know what the video is about, or, I don't like to say, oh, nice covers. And I haven't looked at any of the covers or books or pickups or, so I don't know. And I think there are others, like that, but,
well, because you're authentic, man. You if you're gonna leave a comment about something they made, you want to let them know, hey, I watched the thing you made, and that's also, I think, because you make that kind of it. You do live streams and you make that kind of video. I do too, and so like I have the exact same point of view of that. Like I'm not going to go into someone's video and say, great books, bro, if I didn't really watch what you showed.
Right, exactly.
I even if that's the comment I left, it's because I watched it and I think they're great books, bro.
Well, one of the things I've done is New Comic Book Day is now kind of very old. So because I have a pull list. I have a pull list. I'm looking at what's coming out in the next couple weeks. I go to the shop on Wednesdays. I'm picking up the books. And so New Comic Book Day videos has become a very easy pass for me now because I'm so involved with what I'm collecting and what I'm looking at in the shop when I'm there that I can very easily now skip New Comic Book Day videos or live streams from others. And so that has been good because that kind of frees up my Wednesday and I can go read my books that I picked up or do other things. And so that's kind of a category of content that now I kind of just bypass.
This is a little weird, but Jeff Jack, I've heard from a lot of people that do it, that people will listen to a YouTube show like as they're driving, like it's a podcast. And people have said they do that with, I've heard from people who do that with my stream. And he's right. Like we're showing books and we're talking about them, but some people don't need that visual aspect of it. And I think that's kind of cool. I have tried, but I just can't. Like I need the visual. And then so that's nice of you, Jeff Jack. But here I feel like you're calling me out. YouTubers should be more conscious of the content they're uploading and whether it's worth sharing.
That's one of the things that I struggle with, aside from, like I was telling you guys backstage, both of my kids are under 5 years old. My wife runs her own business and, I work full time. And so when I am thinking about ideas to put into a video, I want to make sure that I'm not regurgitating something that somebody else has already said. Like Brian said, new comic book day. Some of that stuff is great, but it's a tired subject. And there are a dime a dozen channels out there that's all they do. New comic book day. And then let's look at next week. And this is what I'm grabbing. And that's the entirety of their channel. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I don't want to be that. No. But I don't want to be another one of those. You know what I'm saying? So I want to put something out. I want to put out content that is either helpful to people or, I feel really strongly about. And so jumble that into the schedule that is my life. And it's like, okay, well, it's like picking a needle out of a haystack to make the right thing.
I think, number one, Cliffy, I love you. And number two, like, I think there is enough room for everybody. And
100%.
if Brian is saying, I'm not going to watch new books on Wednesday content because all the reasons you stated, that's fine. There are a lot of people who do. There are also, I think, a lot of people who don't get new books, but they keep up with new books because people are putting out content like what Cliff does.
Correct.
And I think it's great. And then, Jeff, if you're thinking, if you want to put anything out there in any kind of creative capacity, don't worry if there's room for it. There is. Just do it. It really does come down to, and I have this as one of my questions, like, because I think this is the reflection piece for all of this. Like, why, Brian, 5 years ago, why did you start a YouTube channel? What made you say, I'm going to turn a camera on, I'm going to talk to nerds on the internet, and I'm going to tell them what I think? What made you do that?
Because I got back into collecting. And so, when I first kind of got back in, I wasn't even picking up books. I was selling books. And so I had my collection from the 80s and I started to sell those books. It was COVID and I had some extra time at home. So I started selling books. And so the main reason I came to YouTube, I had no idea how to pack and ship a comic book so it wouldn't get damaged. And so I came to YouTube and said, how do you ship a comic book? How do you pack a comic book? And I learned about, Gemini mailers. I had no idea that there were specific, boxes for comic books. And so I stumbled on a couple channels to figure out how to, pack my books safely. And then I went kind of down the rabbit hole. What else? What other content do these channels have? And then I got more involved, watching more content, comic book content. Then I, made the trip back to the LCS, and then I started picking books up. And then I said, well, I could make a channel. I really, my first couple videos were about what books I was selling. I listed a bunch of books on eBay.
Oh, okay.
And I said, I'll make a weekly video about what I sold on eBay. That seemed interesting to me. And so I thought others might like it. But then you go down the rabbit hole, you get invited to your first live stream, and then people are showing off books and you're showing off your books. And then it kind of spirals from there. But yeah, originally it was just, I needed to know I discovered comic book YouTube by trying to figure out how to ship a book.
That is the most unique YouTube origin story I think I've heard. It really is. Like, I didn't know that part. That's awesome. Doug, why did you what was your push? Why did you want to do it?
I think for me, it was just growing up. My parents. My mom definitely is not a collector of anything other than, she likes Wizard of Oz stuff, and she likes those old plates, those fine china plates that have like paintings on them.
Hell,
and then so she's got tons of those. That's it.
Ones, baby.
Right. And then my stepdad, same thing. He collects collected a few things, but he's really big into NASA and space things, and so and then his other thing is like Scooby Doo. So I like had the collecting bug early from influence. But what really made me jump into doing YouTube is I was talking to Brandon from Mon Comics, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm thinking about starting a channel." And he encourages anyone that reaches out to him about it to just go ahead and do it. You got a phone, just start recording. But what I wanted to do was, as a kid, because I was the only one that I really knew that collected comics, no one was showing me the way. Like, hey, you got to put these in bags with boards. I mean, for a long time, I had comic book sleeves for a binder, and I punched holes in them, and that's how I stored my comics as a kid. And not in the books, in the sleeves, but like the books would rub on the rings of the binder, and then that didn't work out. And then at one point, they were just stacked on a shelf, and so I was like, what if that's where my moniker, my handle, the Comic Collector Coach, came from? Is what if everybody who had questions had a coach to refer to or a guide to refer to of, this is how I do it. Here's another way you can do it. This is how I display things. This is how I store things, and so that's really when Brandon was like, man, I don't think anybody's doing that. And I said, I don't think they are either, because I can't find anybody, because I've looked. When I've had questions, I've looked and I didn't find anybody. So that's really what I wanted my channel to be about, was really just kind of showing people, like, these are mistakes I've made. This is what you can do. And, there's really limitless possibilities with that mindset. And so that was my big push. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback doing it that way. Yeah. So that keeps me from burnout. But, again, coming back to it, my issue is that just the motivation, with my schedule being tight, it's like, how do I find the energy and the motivation to push and just do that next video?
I think and Brian, this might not 100% work for you with your start, but like I try to remember why I wanted to do this in the first place. And it really was, for me personally, it was just that I didn't feel creatively fulfilled in my job. And I just didn't feel like I had a creative outlet. And this was something that I have a background in film and production, and it just felt fun. It felt fun to put something together. And so I keep trying to come back to that mentally when I'm putting a video together. And that's hard and Brian touched on this in his video. And again, I was like, oh my God, I feel seen. He's when I've done something and I've put all this time and effort into it, and I'm like, this one's going to pop, like this one's good. And it's the worst performing video I've put out in 3 months. Right. And then one that I put not zero effort, but that I put together quickly, and it does triple whatever that one is. And so I try to have the mindset of I don't worry about necessarily the reception or the views, even though I do want to see that. But it's like, did I have fun putting the video together? Did I have a reason to do it? And if I felt creatively fulfilled from what I did, then I feel like it's a success regardless of what happens. Because it's out of your control. Once you post it, it's out of your control. Right.
If you make it for yourself first as the audience, I think you're going to be satisfied with the product. Yeah.
Good, well said. That's where I try to live with making a recorded video. You can't control that with a live stream necessarily, but like if I'm putting something out to as a recorded video, I try to have that mindset of I'm making this for me, and I'm going to laugh at this cut or this edit or this joke that I put in there. And so like with anybody, Jeff, Jack, my friend Alex here, my young friend Alex, who's started putting up a lot more comic book videos. It's just like, and Big Nasty earlier, he said, I'm trying not to put out too many because I don't want to be repetitive. Well, it's not repetitive if it's your point of view. It's not repetitive if it's your like legitimate voice and passion for whatever it is. We can all take the same book and we have a different point of view on it. It's whether or not you want to tell that story. It's whether or not you want to present that material. So I would encourage anybody who thinks that this might, because it is fun, and there are a lot of people right now, right next to us in this chat who dig this, and we have good conversations about a hobby that we all really enjoy. So it's overwhelming, and it's harder than you think sometimes, especially to keep going. That's why Brian, 5 years, I'm just like, wow, man. Because a lot of people, I feel like, they do it for a couple of months and they realize, geez, it takes forever to get a video. You got to make it, and then you got to upload it, and then this is not as easy. It's not just pointing a camera at yourself and going. But I would encourage anybody who thinks they have something to say about the hobby that they love, put your voice out there, but put it out there for yourself first.
Right.
If you're, I just don't think you can, you can't hope that you're gonna you're gonna pop or go viral or be the next big thing. That's not the reason to do it. Let's see. Focus on content, weakness, editing. Videos are shorts. Oh, that time. Well, that was a quality short, my friend. Getting to talk with Tom King was huge. I am trying less and less to worry about numbers and just more about being able to I don't know, show things I want and talk to people I want, like you guys. But yeah, it's real easy to get bogged down by that part of it, to say, I spent 10 hours editing this video and it only got X views. People didn't like it. They didn't like what I did. And it is disheartening. I'm not going to lie, but it's still like like you said, Doug, if I'm happy with it, I'm happy with it.
Right.
Well, and I found it interesting that my anniversary, the anniversary video that I did, I just basically had jotted down some notes, some thoughts of things that I wanted to talk about, and just kind of started recording. And so that video was pretty easy to put together. And it did, from a view standpoint, it did really well. But then I'm thinking, well, do I just not show books and just talk about things, or because there's the flip side of that is, like, I was doing comic book review videos for a while, and I've kind of stopped, where I would deep dive into the Amazing Spider-Man or whatever, but I'd read the book and then I'd have to write the script, write the review. Right. And then do the voiceover, and then edit the video, and I enjoy it, but I'm like, I'm spending multiple hours on this, and some people really enjoy it, but is the effort worth the the outcome? And so I stopped doing that because I could take those 3 hours that I was editing and go do something else.
Yeah,
like read.
Watch one of the TV shows I want to watch.
I mean, on the flip side of that, Brian. So my first comic book channel that I ever watched was Comic Tropes, Chris.
Oh, right.
And I love his reviews of weird Golden Age books and things like that. And so it's my favorite kind of video to make. But you're right, it's forever. Like, to snip the pictures, to put things together, to do voiceover. And
his videos are a production.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they are. And I've done a couple this year. I did a Christmas one, and I just did one on Supergirl recently, and they took forever, and they didn't do great. Like, as far as metrics go, they did not do great at all, but they're still like two of the things that were the most fun for me to make. And they're two that I'm more proud of than just a haul video, even though it's what I named the channel, but like just showing, hey, look, here's a bunch of stuff I bought, but people do I can't control what people are going to want to watch more. And people like to watch a haul video. Hell, I like to watch a haul video. I like to watch people dig at stores, and I don't want to not do something because it's not going to do well. So like,
right. Yeah,
I'm gonna stream video games on Friday nights, and no one's gonna watch, and I'm okay with that because I like it. I'm having fun, and that's where I'm trying to have like a good mental mindset of why I'm doing it, is because it's fun, and I think anybody out there who's thinking of doing this, if you have fun first, if you do it for yourself first, I think, one, you'll enjoy it more, and two, there's a real good chance that you're going to meet a lot of these people that we all keep running into in these live streams. And this is, I liken it to, it's like the world's coolest comic book shop. Like, when you go in on Wednesday and the guys are sitting around talking about things and showing but it's like we're doing this on a literal global scale. And instead of just doing it on Wednesdays, we're doing it 7 days a week. It's pretty cool.
I think too, when it comes to avoiding burnout, it starts with the motivation. What's your why? What's your reason for doing it? But then, if you're, like you said, I don't want to not make something because I'm worried that it won't do well, won't be received well. If you care about it, if you're passionate about it, the rest of that will kind of sort itself out. The people who are attracted or resonating with what you're saying will come to you. They'll find you, and your audience will grow. And the time may be a factor there. Will it take 6 months, a year? How long will it take? But as long as you're enjoying it still, don't let that rob you of the joy. Don't let it rob you of because that's a fast track to burnout. As soon as you're doing something to make other people happy and not yourself, you're already.
It goes right back to buying the FOMO book on Wednesday.
Exactly.
What everybody says to buy. Like, you shouldn't be trying to make the video that everybody else is the hot thing or whatever. Damien, I don't know if you can say a little more about that. Being conversational is the low-hanging fruit that most people are drawn to. I'm just trying to understand the point here. Are you saying that more as like a negative or a positive? Because I do think people, I do like to watch, I hope people like to watch people just have a conversation. We're talking about comics and we haven't shown one book. We haven't, this is literally like a very meta conversation. But there's, I think that I do enjoy hearing other people's perspectives on the hobby. And I wouldn't get a chance to do that otherwise, because the hobby itself is so singular. That I buy a comic, I read a comic, I put a comic in a box. If I don't have a friend to talk to about that, it's hard to get that social aspect of this hobby. And this is how I'm getting it, is by watching other people's videos and seeing what they're thinking about it.
Yeah, well, hearing other people's opinions of the same story, maybe they got something out of it different than what you did when you read it, and so that's interesting to hear. Or different theories, or there's a lot of times I'll listen to or watch people do reviews of Spider-Man books, and there may be something I've missed in the story. I wasn't, I didn't catch that little piece or think of it in that way. And so,
yeah. So very recently there was a book, it was the hot book. I ended up grabbing it. It was Tigress Island. And the week before that was Dork, and everybody loved Dork, and I thought it was fun. I thought it was fine. It was okay. But Tigress Island I thought was weird. Like, it was weird, but I really enjoyed it. And I was like, oh man, this one was weird, but I like weird. And so I start watching other people, and they're like, this book is trash. Not one person liked it. not any video I saw talking about. I was like, oh God, I think I might be an idiot. But you're right, Brian, that like you read something and see what you thought, and then you read, or watch someone else give their point of view. I like smart people too. Like, I like when I see, oh, I missed that, I didn't necessarily see that layer or that connection that they were going for. I'm obviously I'm a pretty big fan of the comic book YouTube community, and I'm not feeling burnt out, but I guess I want to go back a couple of months where I was like, I was doing too many streams every week. I was trying to put out a video every week. I was posting on Instagram. I was doing all the things they told you to do, right? I was trying to post on Instagram every day. And I quit for I said, I'm going to take 2 weeks off and like reevaluate the whole thing. It was the best thing I ever could have done, because coming back, I'm still doing a stream a week, but I want to. I'm putting out videos when I can. I've laid off Instagram pretty heavily. I'm trying to do this in a way that is I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it's got to be fun, and it's got to be me first. Like the whole point is that I'm getting something out of this. If I'm doing this because I feel like I'm obligated and I'm supposed to, because the algorithm says if I don't post on Thursdays that nobody's going to watch my shit, then, you know, whatever. So, okay, I want to see what he said, because another person who's been around for a while is Damien, Sleepy Reader, and he puts out good videos and he knows good books. Instance, the example of Brian's video or this show, it's appealing and less specific. If you do deep dive edited videos, are harder to find an audience. And you're right.
Sure.
That's true. I mean, the deep dive, the edited stuff, it doesn't do as well. But I still think it has its place. And like I said, it's one of the things I enjoy. So I'm not going to stop doing it, but I'm not going to live or die by it either. It's
right.
And it does take,
I think it
takes too damn long.
Right. I'll do reviews probably at some point in the future again, but it's the time, you know, the risk reward, and I could be doing something else with that free time. You know, the 3 hours that it takes to edit, I can go do something else. Right. So that's just kind of where I'm at right now with that. And I think, you know, the other thing is the trap with YouTube. Once you make a channel, once you take the leap to having a channel, is that, and I know I fell into it early on, were chasing books because other people were buying them, the FOMO, right? Or buying things that I would normally, mystery boxes. I was buying mystery boxes because it was an easy way to make content, right? Buy a mystery box and maybe I'll get something that I'll want to keep.
Right.
But so I think some of us fall into that trap where we're chasing content ideas, and we're probably spending money or buying things that we probably normally wouldn't. So I think that can lead to you know, some burnout, or you know, some money being spent that you
I think that's where you start to lose that joy. You're buying things because you're not buying things because you want them. And I just think I think even if the book is not popular or crap or whatever, I think if you're excited about whatever it is, it's more fun to watch. I think people are more drawn to authenticity than anything else. So some people are always going to, like, you know, show the Hulk 181s, the ASM 300, like the big boy books, and you can show those, and there are people who are going to want to see that. But I still think people are, and I am personally, I am more drawn to somebody who's really into a thing, and that's what they like to talk about. And I think that mindset can keep you from feeling burnt out in doing what you're doing, and keep you being more creative in what you're doing. And
because something like that, like Brian just said, you know, mystery boxes. I'm going to do mystery boxes because it's easy content. It's always going to be different, right? Potentially, anyway, it's always going to be different. But if there's no passion in it, everyone's going to see that, because you're not going to feel it. It's going to be on the screen. Everyone's going to see that. And then, you know, that's the first thing that gets cut. So don't, you know, letting content drive you instead of you pick what you're going to put out, like consciously deciding what you're going to film and edit. Like you said, Brian, it takes 3 hours to edit. I don't think I'm quite that fast, but if it takes you a long time to edit, you know, just that alone, if it starts feeling like work because you didn't put passion in it in the first place, and you're talking about a topic that's maybe a waste of everybody's time, except for the 2 or 3 people in the corner, like, yeah, I love mystery boxes. Okay, great. But if it doesn't feel good to do, then don't do it. You'll avoid that aspect of burnout altogether.
So, you know, Mike would have been somebody good to talk to about this too. And I did talk to him a little bit before he made his little announcement about how he was making some changes to his channel. But I know he had a lot of obligation, like personal obligation, with the way he had a schedule and things. But he did this for, I think, 3 years, where he was pumping these videos out, and he's made some changes to make himself more comfortable and to keep himself, you know, into what he's doing. And I think it's just that reevaluation. Where are you right now? Like, and if you're feeling like things are too same, or you're feeling like things are, you know, it's feeling like it's feeling like a grind instead of a hobby, then it's time to do a little reevaluation and maybe approach it from a different angle, and that's okay. And it's okay. It's okay to go back and forth too. It's sometimes you change tack and then you realize, oh, maybe I do want to go back and do whatever that was. It's different. It's going to be different for everybody, but I guess, I feel like it's supposed to be creative and it's supposed to be fun. And if it starts to feel like a second job, we're not doing it right. Like we're sharing what we love here. And oh, that's a good one. YouTubers are teachers, and as a teacher, God, that's so true. Like, I don't want to go in and phone it in for my kids. I've got to.
It's not fun for anybody.
It's not.
Right.
Nothing works if you are not authentically there as a teacher for your kids. Nothing freaking works that day. Your whole world will fall apart, and you will be miserable. And that's why I just don't have a problem right now saying, especially because I'm very busy at work. And I don't have much steam left when I get home. So I can't, even though I got stuff I want to do and stuff I want to make, I just can't turn the camera on and fake it. So I don't
find another gear.
I just let it go. And then to this, Cliff, good Lord, buddy, me too. I mean, I love buying crap. I do. It's, I don't know. Is it shopping addiction? Maybe a little, but it really is crap.
Retail therapy, right?
It is a little retail therapy, and I don't have a problem with that as long as we talked about that last time, Doug. Stay within your budget,
Right.
Know what you can spend. I love getting something too that I didn't, I didn't have. Sometimes that little bit of fulfillment is good. No, we don't. We send boxes to each other to do that. There may be a little conspiring for that, but I don't send a box to myself.
I would just put it in the mailbox and go retrieve it.
Yeah.
Right.
There are a lot of teachers on YouTube, and that's because we have to talk and present, and that's what this is. and even the people who aren't, like, I can tell would be a good teacher. Like, there's a lot of people I come across and they have that, because not everybody does.
Right.
Well, I'm not surprised, Cliff. You think about COVID, right? Everybody got used to the idea of talking like we're talking on a stream, whether it was Zoom or Teams or it became the norm for a lot of people, right? And so and now it's really just become now an extension of because I've talked to some of the people who have been around in the comic book community a lot longer than me, and the live stream really wasn't a big thing. Obviously technology plays a part in that, but it was more pre-recorded videos, that type of thing. But now, I mean, you can go on any night and there's multiple live streams. There's live streams all the time. So
and that, let's hit that real quick. I know we're coming we're a little over an hour, but this is another place where I start to feel a little like obligation, guilt. I think guilt is the best word. And I know Sleepy has talked about this with our friend David, the Garage Geek, also a teacher, by the way. And yes, all teachers are hams, because I put on a 7-hour show every day live. I put on a 7-hour one-man show every day. It's exhausting but fun. But it's a point where any night that I pull YouTube up, there will be 3, 5, 7 freaking live streams of people I know and people I like, and I literally cannot watch them all. And if I don't watch it, there's also no way I can go back the next day and watch the rewinds of all of those. So there, that obligation to support my friends or to support channels that I like, or smaller channels too. There's a lot of smaller channels and they'll start streaming and I'm like, well, I want to pump them up, get them some views, but you can't do it all. And so I try to do what I can and get past that. But Brian, you talked about that too, supporting smaller channels, which you always do. And I think is so cool on your Saturday show. You always show, 2 to 3 smaller channels that you've come across, and you put links, and hell, you did that for me one day, I think. So
yeah, I mean, that people did that for me when I first started. Rod the Rican shouted me out. Gary B, the casual comic guy, shouted me out. And so,
great guy.
Yeah. I've always kind of said, well, I just continue to pay that forward. And that was one of the things that John's Comics with Friends said to me about just supporting the smaller channels, because, they may need the encouragement. It may keep them from staying in the community or making videos or watching content. So that always stuck with me. I mean, that doesn't mean just bypass bigger channels, but because they need the love too. But
sure,
if I had 20 minutes to spare, I may lean towards maybe a smaller channel, a newer channel, or there's bigger channels, but I may not watch all of their content. But if there's a piece of content that maybe interests me,
right.
if it's a Spider-Man, or if it's another character that I'm interested in, or a topic I'm interested in, I'll spend my time there too. So
I am more likely these days, especially, I will jump on a video that I notice doesn't have very many views. Somebody that I know, I'm more likely to jump on their video, watch it, and leave them a good comment about what they did, because of what you just said. Like, I feel like if you don't feel like you're getting good feedback from this, you might quit. And I don't want that to happen to somebody who's trying to say something.
Right.
And so I want to, I still want to encourage them, and I want them to keep going. Just because, like, it feels good to be creative, and I want people to be able to do that. I don't want people to feel like they're not achieving that. So yeah, I'm more likely to watch a smaller channel with less views right now than I am to jump on one that I'm like, he already got 900 views or whatever. And not that I don't want to watch that, but there's Johnny. Your DC trash reviews were referenced earlier with great love. But yeah, I agree with Damien. I think there's so many streams, and that's not a bad thing. Again, like like with the difference between like a Wednesday new comic book day stream and other kind of live streams. I think because there's so much variety, that means there's something for more types of people, like the thing that you might want to watch. And everything doesn't have to be for you. And that's okay, because there's a lot of things out there for all of us. I think it's cool that when we can support each other. And Brian and John are right that you want to, like, I think those smaller creators are the ones that I try to pump up when I can, because a lot of people, they might need the encouragement a little more, and I want them to get it.
Right. Thanks, and that might keep them from getting burnt out. Maybe they just need a little bit of support to not feel like they're, screaming into the void, and then maybe they're the next big channel. So
yeah, I just want to, I want anybody who wants to do this to have their there is room at the table for everybody. There really is. It's just, you got to do it your way. That's something else, is like, I think sometimes people think they've got to do things the way that the channel that they really like does it.
Right.
That's not the recipe either, but that's a different topic. We're talking about burnout. Let's see. I mean, Cliff, I'm not mad about it. Johnny might be, but I'm not mad about it. DC's on fire this year. He's not, because he knows Absolute Batman rules. He just doesn't like Silver Age. I'll never get it. Well, with that, I think we're at a good place to wrap this up. I think, we're just kind of reflecting on the time we've spent on YouTube and how we can, I don't know, stay fresh is not really the right word, but like keep going with the right like mentality and having fun while doing it, so that you don't feel like you have to do this. I can close with this. My Tuesday night stream that I've been doing for not 2 years, but I've been on YouTube for 2 years. But the Tuesday night stream, there are nights that I come I come home from work and I'm freaking tired. You know, I'm tired. I don't feel like I can go sit in front of the computer and talk about comic books. But I sit down in front of the computer and my buddies come on and we just giggle for 2 solid hours, right? We show books, we tell stories, and it pumps me up for the rest of the week. Like it is so much fun. So even those moments where I'm feeling like I don't know if I've got it tonight. Those guys, like the camaraderie, the fun, that lifts me up, and it legitimately helps get me through the rest of my week. So I think that's what, if you're thinking of doing these kind of things, like if you can get that kind of return on what you're doing, making a video, whether it's edited or doing a live stream, I think you're going to love it. So that's the attitude I try to go in with. You guys have anything you want to add in the closing here?
Go ahead, Brian.
I mean, I would say the same for me with my live stream that I do on the weekends, on Saturdays now is, and it's really built. I like to have people come on and kind of co-host or, discuss, maybe a project or something they're working on. But I do like the idea of just not having to rely on others. I'm just interacting with the chat. So it's because I did an interview show for a little while. And, that's you got to coordinate and get schedules matched up and, those type of things. And so there is a little freedom for me to be able to just do a live stream, a solo live stream, and just interact with the chat, right? Whoever shows up. And then it's kind of like I can keep it to an hour. I can kind of have fun and then go about my weekend and other things that I need to do. It just has always worked for me. And so I like popping on and like a stream like this and talking with others on a panel and in the chat. But I don't know. I just the idea of that freedom of I'm in control and I can end it when I need to end it, or it just has worked for me and my channel.
I love that you're back on. I can't catch all your Saturdays as often as I could catch your Sunday show.
Right.
But Breakfast with Brian, like legitimately, my wife, we would sit on the couch and drink coffee and watch that, on Sunday mornings. And it was, so I am really glad you're doing the Saturday show is a similar feel. But it's pretty wild because you do a one-man show, but your co-host is your chat. Like you bring all those guys in and you do a really good job of interacting and bringing what they're asking or what they're contributing and making that your show. I'm glad you're back, Brian. I'm glad you're still doing that. And like you said, you're not obligated to feel like you got to do it every week. You're doing it the Saturdays that you can. And I think that's cool because that's what we're here for. It's good for our mental health, right?
Well, when I end that stream and I'm it kicks off my weekend. I'm feeling good going into, the rest of the Saturday and Sunday. It's a good feeling.
Yeah. There's Brad with the crispy bacon. Doug, anything you want to say to close us out?
I just think that we've all, as we said kind of at the beginning, we all got into this for different reasons, different motivation, and we've all experienced burnout to some degree, whether it's with just the collecting part, whether you're in the chat and you don't have a YouTube channel and you're just a collector who likes comic book YouTube. You probably experienced burnout, whether it's from FOMO or, I'm a statue guy and I like Gem Mint. That guy's got 101 statues and every single one of them, I'm like, golly, I'd really like to have that. But, separating that from the reason that you became a collector or the reason you stepped into YouTube it's important to make the distinction. Why am I doing it? Do I enjoy doing this or does it feel like work? And if I continue doing it, what's my goal? And so I think answering those questions for yourself, you can really help yourself avoid burnout. Whatever your place in the community is, you can avoid the burnout.
Well said, man. Well said. Both Brian and Doug are linked below. If you haven't seen Brian's video, about fatigue and gratitude, you should, because it's really well put together and it's really honest and it really got me thinking. And it's what made Doug and I want to have this particular conversation today. If there's like something within this vein that you think Doug and I could cover, or that you want to hear us talk about, we want to do this semi-regularly. It's a lot of fun to take a break from showing books and just kind of talk through where we are at our collective
100%.
journey. It's very healthy and it feels good. So thank you to my God, the chat was amazing tonight, as it always is. But you guys were, there were a lot of you in here tonight. You guys had a lot of really good, a lot of really good points and a lot of good conversation happening. So thank you for being here. And yeah, we will see you in the next one. All right, everybody, have a good night.